So, hello and welcome. I'm Meredith Stowell, publisher at The Papers, and today I'm joined by Meredith Stowell, Vice President, IBM Z ecosystem. So, Payments Unleashed EMEA surfaced a clear shift. Payments infrastructure is now viewed as critical national and economic infrastructure, on par with energy, cloud, and telecommunications. And as real-time payment scale and sovereignty concerns rise, the conversation is moving from innovation for its own sake to resilience, trust, and execution at scale. Today, we're discussing why banks and payment providers need infrastructure that delivers resilience, security, and control at national scale, and why evolving the core isn't about replacing it, but strengthening it, and how that plays out in partnerships with providers like ACI Worldwide, who built the applications running on top of that infrastructure. So Meredith, thank you so much for joining us.
So great to be here. Thank you for having me. It's quite an honor.
Great. So banks have run core systems on the mainframe for decades, Meredith. So let's dive right in the mainframe topic. Why is IBM Z still the right foundation for financial services in 2026?
Honestly, most people don't even realize how much is actually running and relied upon on this platform every single day. If you tapped a card this morning, or if you used a mainframe, 87% of credit card transactions and 70% of financial transaction value by volume actually are touching one, right? And why are they still running these? Why does this continue to evolve? And why do banks, payments, insurance firms truly rely on the mainframe for their critical workloads? Well, it's because they scale. It's because they have proven resiliency, proven transparency, proven security, and all of the things that we're looking at today when it comes up with the need for sovereign as well. It is built in, it is designed from the silicon all the way up to the applications to be as fast as possible with the transactions, but also secure, scale, and resilient.
Yeah, we're talking about speed. I mean, now we have real-time payments, real-time fraud. So we need real-time fraud detection. We have AI, and these are all reshaping banking. So how do IBM Z and LinuxONE handle that volume and speed without compromising security?
Well, as you know, as I just mentioned, so many transactions, millions, billions of transactions are running through these systems. And just imagine if you could bring the AI to the data when it happens. And that's what we're doing with these systems. We have AI accelerators that are built in at the firmware. We have capabilities to really enable real-time fraud, real-time AI in transaction. So the Z17, which is our latest release, it's running more than 450 billion inferences a day at 1 millisecond latency. So right at the transaction itself, because when it comes to payments, and many people don't necessarily realize this, other than definitely those that are in the payments industry, milliseconds matter, right? And typically you can get it to maybe 5, 10, 15 milliseconds, and that sounds really fast. But when you're tapping that card and so many things are going on behind the scenes, you need that very fast, low latent response time to be able to get it back in time for your clients. All right. So, and security is another thing, right? Because it's not about how fast it goes through, it's also about how secure it is. And so security, it's not bolted on afterwards. There's actually pervasive encryption. It's built in by default at rest and in flight with no manual configuration required. And so this is one of the areas where, talking about ACI and amazing partnerships that we have, their PRM solution, which is a fraud solution, it's now actually running on the platform, and it inherits all of these incredible capabilities. So that's what I think the ecosystem is so important in building that community for our clients and our joint clients and solutions that really are needed for today's environment.
Great, amazing. Thanks, Meredith. Another major theme is confidential computing and data sovereignty. Where does LinuxONE fit, particularly for that data sovereignty part?
Yeah, data sovereignty and just the overall need for transparency, for control, for resilience, for security is really key right now in the market. And this is where confidential computing, it earns its keep, right? We isolate sensitive workloads inside hardware protected enclaves. So even someone with privileged access to the system, they can't see the data. And this is something that's very, very unique. So on top of that, the single frame, the rack mount configurations, these are ones that we just came out with. They also support fantastic co-location. So from a data residency perspective, institutions can keep regulated data in country at the size that they need.
Oh, that's key. We talked about resilience earlier, Meredith, and we have the DORA regulation here in Europe, and regulators keep raising the bar on operational resilience. What does this hardware enable that institutions struggle to achieve otherwise?
Well, I always like to come back to the math on this one, right? Public cloud SLAs, and this is where we were talking about that response time. Public cloud SLAs, they sit at around 3 nines, so roughly 9 hours of downtime a year. We certify the mainframe at 8 nines. What does that really mean? That's about 315 milliseconds. That's a real difference when it comes to regulators and what they can hold on to. One time we were talking with a client, and it was interesting. They said, we don't measure in uptime, we measure in always time.
Yeah.
And those nines make a difference in that always time. So it's not theoretical. When there's a major cloud outage, like it hit in 2025, the mainframe anchor transaction systems, they kept running while a lot of consumer apps went down. So it's a real thing.
Yeah, so that jump from 3 nines to 8 nines isn't incremental. It's massive.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's massive.
So we should also talk about sustainability, Meredith. It's a growing priority for banks, for corporates. How does consolidation onto LinuxONE change a bank's energy and footprint story?
Okay, this is one that I have to tell you, I absolutely love, because just as a citizen of our world, sustainability to me, it's important. And these systems, whether it's a mainframe system, whether it's the LinuxONE system, they have always been built at the core design point from a sustainability perspective. So when you look at, consolidation, it's a sustainability story. All right, one Z17 replacing hundreds of servers and all their power, the cooling, the floor space that goes with them. So we're seeing up to 75% lower energy use and 67% less floor space when clients consolidate x86 workloads onto LinuxONE 5. It's pretty significant.
Significant, yes. No, that's great. What is the most common misconception about mainframes, and how do you counter it, Meredith?
I am going to say, because this is an area that I definitely work in quite a bit, the most common myth and misconception that I hear about is that people aren't interested in working on the mainframe. That there is a skills shortage when it comes to mainframe. And this is something that is truly a misconception. We have so many different skills programs. We have all different ways that we help to inspire and connect and train and grow talent for this space. We are doing all kinds of things, whether it's from in our ecosystem as well, introducing common tooling, introducing open source, introducing ways to reduce any specialized skills that are needed on this platform. And it's resonating. In fact, the challenge that we have isn't necessarily talent, not having talent that's interested in the platform. It's having so much interest in the platform. For example, we've got our mainframe skills depot, our mainframe career depot. Within that career depot, we have job seekers that are actually looking for jobs. We have over 400, for example, right now that are open and willing and looking for jobs. They just need the opportunities. So to me, That's one of the biggest misconceptions.
Great, thanks, Meredith. So if a financial institution takes one thing away from our conversation, what should it be?
Modernization, it isn't about ripping out the core. It's about strengthening the resilient foundation that you already have and building new capability, including AI all around it and integrated into it. And I'd also close with a partnership piece. IBM Z and LinuxONE, they provide the infrastructure, we provide the infrastructure, but also incredible partner ecosystems like ACI Worldwide. They build payment applications, they build AI applications. And when you put these two together, you optimize them together, that full stack, that's what the bank actually needs.
So, thanks. So Meredith, thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through this today. It's been a great conversation, and one I think a lot of our audience will want to revisit as they think through their own infrastructure decisions. So thank you for watching, and thank you again, Meredith, for joining us.